Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the DFS Hockey Report. It has been an absolutely busy day here at my home, and it has been a busy 12-game slate trying to get everything ready. So sorry for the delay today. A little bit stressed, but we're gonna win a lot of money tonight, Zach, and everything will be fine. How are you doing today, bud?
I'm doing well. Kind of equally busy day for me, but I'm ready to dive into this slate, man. We were talking about it late last night. This looks like a super fun slate, and a lot of the things we were talking about have kind of come to fruition in some of the spots that we like. So, really excited about how this slate looks tonight.
Yeah, and last night, hopefully the viewers had a good night. I know I did. I punched my ticket got a $555 ticket last night. Really nice profit across the board. Some of those lower owned spots like Carolina 2, I was extremely heavy on. They did really well. I had a lot of Dostal last night. He did well. That Devin Cooley and Buffalo Fade worked out pretty well. So I think a lot of what we talked about on yesterday's show went really well, and hopefully we can carry that over into tonight's massive 12-gamer. And as you mentioned, it looks like it's going to be a fun one. So let's dive right in. Jim Bob says yesterday's show was very on point. Thank you, Jim Bob. Appreciate that. Blind squirrel nut, something like that every once in a while. All right, let's go. We got Joseph Wool getting the start for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He'll face Jet Greaves for the Columbus Blue Jackets. He finally got a much-needed night off the other day. He'll be back between the pipes tonight and projected to be quite popular this evening. Sergei Bobrovsky gets the start for the Florida Panthers. Jake Allen goes to the New Jersey Devils. We're going to be talking about him in a minute. He is $7,000 on tonight's slate for some reason, projected to be the highest own goal of the night. Dan Vladar gets a start for the Flyers. It's going to be a Joel Hofer for the St. Louis Blues. John Gibson goes for the Red Wings. It'll be Ilya Sorokin for the Islanders. Sam Montembeault gets the nod for that Montreal Canadiens. It's going to be likely Charlie Lindgren on the second half of a back-to-back for the Capitals. Andrei Vasilevsky likely to get the start for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Projected to see Calvin Pickard in the second half of a back-to-back for Edmonton. Spencer Knight back between the pipes after a night off the other night. For the Blackhawks, Joey Daccord projected to start for the Kraken. It's going to be Scott Wedgwood and likely going to see Igor Shesterkin, for the New York Rangers. Then we get down to the late games. We've got Karel Vejmelka for Utah, projecting to see Akira Schmid for the Vegas Golden Knights. Kevin Lankinen versus Jake Ottinger. Got Yaroslav Askarov likely to start for the Sharks. Looks to say red hot in the month of November. Anton Forsberg gets the nod for the Kings. They left Darcy Kemper at home to take a break, get the night off. He'll be back between the pipes. I think that's tomorrow. Peter Mrazek projected to start the second half of back-to-back for the Ducks. And Linus Ullmark just recently confirmed before we went live, gets the nod for the Ottawa Senators. So those are your 12 games. Those are your 24 starting goalies confirmed, likely projected or otherwise. Let's get into tonight's slate. I'll take game number one. We've got the Toronto Maple Leafs against the Columbus Blue Jackets. We talk about it pretty frequently. The Columbus Blue Jackets are not a team that defends particularly well. They have been a little bit better as of late. They rank 12th in terms of 5v5 expected goals against, 12th worst, excuse me. So I guess that would be 20th in the NHL, 21st in the NHL in terms of 5v5 XG. Toronto Maple Leafs, 28th. So two teams that are not defending all that well right now, and two teams that have pretty good offense. Obviously, the Maple Leafs top line, Nylander and Tavares, we've talked about them having a really good year so far. So this game is going to see quite a bit of ownership, particularly on Toronto 1. What's really interesting about Toronto 1 tonight is Calle Jarnkrok. Jarnkrok moves up there to that top line at just minimum price. He's going to be projected for about 7% or 6% ownership. He's also going to be on power play 1 this evening. So the Leafs, again, no Matthew Nyes. This kind of all got shuffled around last minute the other night. Jarnkrok ends up on the top line. Jarnkrok ends up on the top power play unit along with Tavares and Nylander. So they fully correlate. They fully correlate on that top power play unit. Tavares and Nylander, I mentioned, are obviously buzzing. The fact that Jarnkrok moves up there and he's just minimum price and you can full stack them for $18,200 is obviously pretty interesting to people, right? These two top lines, the Fantilli line and the Tavares line, are going to go head to head. Good matchups on both sides. Both don't defend particularly well. So yeah, I think that both these lines and this game in general could certainly end up being a pretty high event game. You take a look at the pace score. It's one of the higher pace scores on the slate. The power plays on both sides not performing all that well, and neither team really drawing that many penalties. So the expected power plays is very low for both sides, but both penalty kills are just absolutely horrendous, at least in terms of expected goals against, ranking 30th to 32nd in the league. So I think when you layer the fact that this should be a high event 5v5 game, you layer the fact that both penalty kills have struggled. Obviously the Leafs are just still super banged up. I think it's pretty simple to just click on Toronto 1 and forget about literally every other player on this lineup. And almost pretty similar with Columbus, right? That top line's been buzzing. if you want to get to the third line for some value, they've been playing well. But on a 12-game slate, I don't know if you necessarily need to get down there. So the two top lines in this game, I think, are really, really interesting for us. Columbus one grades out second best on the entire slate. They've been really, really good, and they're drawing significantly lower ownership than the Maple Leafs top line. So I think it's kind of interesting to see how things go. Like the Maple Leafs here obviously have not been defending all that well, and then you layer on top that the goaltending has just been absolutely pathetic, particularly from Anthony Solars. We've seen Caden Primo struggle, but Joseph Woll stepped in and solidified things a little bit here. Back-to-back starts, quality starts. He stopped 29 of 32 and 27 of 29. I take it somewhat with a grain of salt. He was facing the Blackhawks and the St. Louis Blues in those two games. And when you look at the data, not really the offensive juggernauts, those two teams. So I take it somewhat with a grain of salt. I do think that this is still a team that's going to struggle to defend. I think this is a team that's going to have their hands full with the Blue Jackets tonight. So I'm certainly interested in both sides of the puck, both top lines for sure tonight. How about you?
Yeah, I got interest in this game for sure. Kind of agree with you here. Like, I think getting to these top lines is fine. Building around the power plays a little bit is certainly something that I'll be doing here on this slate tonight in this spot. So yeah, I've got some interest for sure. Pretty much in agreement with the field here on this game.
The top line for the Blue Jackets also fully correlates on the top power play unit. So both top lines, full correlation on PP1. Let's get to Florida and New Jersey.
Yeah, we've got the Florida Panthers hosting the New Jersey Devils. The Panthers are pretty decent home favorites here, minus 147 on the money line. 3.3 implied total for them, 2.7 for the New Jersey Devils. Looking at the line stacks tonight, Florida 1 and 2, grading out 9th and 12th best overall on this slate tonight. New Jersey 1 coming in at 17th, and New Jersey 2 coming in at 29th. Not really a whole lot of ownership coming in this game, at least from the forward perspective. This Panthers top line, 3.8%, 2.6 for the second and third lines. And I mean, the entire Devils side is extremely low owned, projecting for like less than 2% ownership across the board here. So I think this game is certainly kind of interesting. Obviously the Jake Allen ownership is definitely something to keep in mind tonight. Projected to be the highest owned goaltender on the slate at like 13% ownership. I don't know why he's priced at 7K tonight. Usually we see that with like very heavy underdogs, and it's not like the Devils are massive underdogs here, plus 132. Some money definitely came in on the Panthers overnight here, but this seems like a great spot for Jake Allen, who's been having a really solid year this year. 7 wins and 10 starts. Quality starts in every one of those. 7.2 goals saved above expected, 916 save percentage. He's certainly going to be my highest owned goaltender on the slate tonight. I think for that reason, I'm okay getting to a little bit of this Panthers side as well. It kind of feels like they're starting to turn maybe a little bit of a corner here offensively. That second line, Evan Rodriguez, Sam Reinhart have been kind of starting to find their way as of late. Brad Marchand continuing to be, a huge piece of this Panthers puzzle so far this season. So I think I'm going to get, a little bit of ownership here on this Panthers top 6. And, I don't mind the idea of getting to a little bit of this Devil side too. Evidently without Jack Hughes, it gets, definitely pretty thin for this team. But Arseny Gritchuk sliding up to that top line at $3,300. Been a solid floor player for a little while now. Going to have some increased opportunity here. So I'll probably be over the field on this game as a whole. Not by a lot, but I mean, I'm comfortable throwing 5% ownership at Florida 1 and 2. And probably a little bit towards this top line of the Devils as well. I feel less good about New Jersey too, even though Timo Meier and Dawson Mercer have kind of been the more consistent players for this Devils side of things as of late here. Maybe I'll throw 5% that way as well here and kind of chalk it up to that. So I don't think there's a need to go super heavy here in this game, but it certainly seems like one that could have some offensive fireworks, even with Jake Allen looking like a great play tonight.
Yeah, I agree for the most part. It's interesting because like the matchups look really good on the Florida side of things. The pace score looks pretty good in this one, but It feels like a lower scoring game to me, and one that I'm probably not going to play a lot of. These two teams have met once this season. It was a 3-1 New Jersey win in New Jersey back in mid-October. That evening, Daniil Tarasov got the start for the Florida Panthers. Jake Allen started for the Devils. He stopped 21 of 22. So, yeah, like I texted you last night. I'm like, Jake Allen's 7K tomorrow, and I'm going to play him a lot. And unsurprisingly, he's the highest owned goalie of the night. But like, it's just really good spot here. It's the Panthers offense that's banged up, not scoring a ton outside of a game against the Canucks, who are just terrible. So I really like Jake Allen tonight. I'll be over the field no matter what that number is. I think it's a really good spot. I'd like the Devils to win this game, and it's probably not a game that I'm going to stack too much. Like, it all kind of looks okay. Penalty kills, the power plays just look okay. The 5v5 play just looks kind of okay. I will say, like, if I was going to play one line in this game, it's probably New Jersey one. Like you said, Grichuk, nice floor at $3,300. I think he's a solid one-off option if you want a full stack. 60,200 is pretty reasonable for New Jersey one. We're going to be pretty quick here on Philadelphia and St. Louis. Just an extremely low event hockey game. It looks like here the Flyers continue to defend at a pretty good rate. The Blues, however, where did they go? Where did they go? Kind of below average defensively, but the Flyers really don't generate a whole lot, and nor do the Blues. The Blues 29th and 5v5 expected goals for, weighted expected goals for. The Flyers have been a little bit better, up to 21st. I just don't think this is going to be a game with any fireworks at all. And on a 12-game slate, I mean, the best line grades out 25th, and Zegras, Dvorak, and Tippett. They are drawing a little bit of ownership. I just don't really see, with as many fun and exciting games that are on this slate tonight, with these matchups, the lowest pace score by a mile, I just don't really see a reason to get to this game in any capacity. Like, if we take a look, oops, I just clicked on the wrong thing here. But if we take a look at the projections, like, I don't even think there's any defensemen that really stand out as good plays on either side. Like, Colton Parayko at 4,300 is like the best, and it's like the 30th best value defenseman up front. You know, they're going to get Jake Neighbors back tonight. So he's going to make a difference this evening, potentially. But like, I just don't foresee this being a game that's really worthwhile. So Dvorak grades out as the 23rd best value forward, as the top player of this game. So I think that just goes to show what you're kind of working with this one, and a game that I'm not going to play probably at all. How about you?
Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to add. I think I'm going to get to a little bit of that Philly 3 line. They look like a pretty solid value option on this slate tonight. Solid numbers for these guys as of late, but that's legitimately the only interest that I really have in this game. I think we can just move it right along to this interesting game between Detroit and Philly.
Yeah, it would, Rebecca points out, makes a good point here in the chat. It was 6-5 when these two teams met a couple of weeks ago. I think, like, what's the saying? Lightning doesn't strike twice is kind of how I feel with this game. I just don't imagine. And you know what? If like Philadelphia and St. Louis ends up being 6-5, there's such little ownership. Like, it's probably not going to kill you anyway. Let's get to Detroit and the Islanders.
Yeah, this is a really fascinating game tonight. Detroit Red Wings coming in as -126 home favorites, 3.2 implied total for them, +114 on the money line. For the Islanders, 2.9 implied total for them. Let's get right to the line stacks, because Detroit one looks like they are an absolute smash spot tonight. One of the higher owned lines on the slate, drawing 9.9% ownership, but they look absolutely incredible here. They've been red hot as of late. The matchup score is very strong for them tonight. Their line stats have been tremendous. And I honestly think, and I'm sure you can probably, fill this in a little bit better, these metrics for Detroit one might be underselling just how good they've been here as of late, because ever since these three guys have been put together, boy, they're one of the most dynamic lines in hockey right now. I have tons of interest in this Detroit one side here tonight, grading out as the third best line to target overall. The Islanders top 6 comes in 23rd, 27th overall. Detroit 2 coming in 41st overall. But again, these metrics for Detroit one are just absolutely through the roof here. They've been great as of late. I think this is a great smash spot for them again tonight. Brock, you can probably fill the people in a little bit better on these metrics than I can here.
Yeah, I mean, they've looked so good since they've been put together. The underlying metrics are significantly better than what you see on screen. 3.9 expected goals for per 60, 37 scoring chances, almost 20 high danger looks. They literally had Seattle in a body bag the other night and could have scored like 6 goals. DeBrincat whiffed on one, Raymond whiffed on another. Like, they dominated that game. And this Islanders team doesn't defend particularly well. I think this is a really nice matchup for Detroit One to stay red hot tonight. Obviously, Ilya Sorokin's played a little bit better in November. That's kind of the one negative. But yeah, like I just think there's so much to like about Detroit tonight. One of the best power play matchups on the entire slate as well. Second best. They fully correlate on that unit. We've talked about it a lot with the Islanders. They give up a lot of expected goals for on the penalty kill, but they have had a pretty good kill rate. But the way that this top line and this top power play unit are generating chances for the Red Wings, I do like the chance for them to have success tonight. I think there's probably a little bit of interest coming in on the Islanders side of things for me as well, just because John Gibson really hasn't performed all that well. He's been very inconsistent for the Red Wings, just a 36.4% quality start percentage. So he's been pretty up and down. Horvat and Palmieri have both played extremely well, not seeing much ownership at all. I think that there's, reason to probably click on them a little bit tonight as well. I think even if you want to get down to Detroit 3, Nate Danielson's really looked like a player for this lineup. Emmett Finney's just $4,200. I think that third line's shown a little bit of jam as well. If you want to get like a really cheap, super low owned contrarian line, I don't mind clicking on them tonight either. But yeah, Detroit One, Axel Standing Pellica is only like $2,900, fully correlates with them on Power Play One as well. So I think there's a lot to like about both top lines in this game, really. Emil Heineman, I believe, grades out as one of the best value forwards on the slate. Yeah, 10th best. So he's got a nice projection at 3K. I imagine there's got to be, like Kyle Palmieri, 29th best. But the Detroit Red Wings, I mean, DeBrincat's up there. Lucas Raymond's up there. Dylan Larkin, all within the top 25 in terms of value options tonight. I believe, if I remember correctly, they grade out as the highest projected line of the night. They're also very expensive, but at 21,000, the highest projected line of the night, which means that if the projections love them, the ownership's going to be high, right? The optos are going to be cramming these guys in a little bit, but current ownership doesn't have them egregiously high or anything. They're, third highest owned line of the night. Any thoughts for you on the Islanders side of things? You've played Horvat and Palmieri quite a bit.
Yeah, I have, and I got interested in getting there again. You mentioned John Gibson's struggles. Emil Heineman has been just tremendous as of late. His floor has been through the roof. And not only that, strangely enough, he's got 4 goals and 5 points in 3 games played against the Red Wings in his career. Super kind of random there. But so, yeah, I've got interest in getting to this Islanders side of things. This top line will certainly be one that I'm playing here tonight. I don't know if I'm going to get down to these depth pieces or not here. I think maybe a little bit of Matt Barzal is okay. He's also had some success quite a bit against the Red Wings in his career, 4 goals and 25 points. Worth mentioning too that Detroit has the second best power play matchup on this entire slate tonight. Look to be in a really good spot there as well against an Islanders team that is shorthanded 3.4 times per game so far this season. So again, though, just lots of interest in this Detroit side. I think Detroit One's going to be one of my higher owned lines tonight. And I'm definitely okay throwing a little bit of ownership at this third line as well here. You can really do some fun things with this top line for the Red Wings tonight, despite them being the second most expensive line on the slate behind Colorado One.
Yeah, just one final point on this game. These two teams did meet a couple of weeks ago in late October. The Islanders won 7-2 in that hockey game. The Red Wings were basically lifeless in that game. It was not a strong performance, but basically all 3 lines went off for the Islanders that night. So if you want a little bit of hope, the Red Wings, I think, are playing much better hockey now than they were then, but at the end of the day, there was still a 7-2 win for the Islanders. I think they can certainly get the puck past John Gibson a little bit tonight. Let's get to Montreal and Washington. The Washington Capitals come in on the second half of a back-to-back. I've kind of talked about it with Montreal this year. I'm not a huge believer. They don't generate enough at 5v5. Their defensive metrics are really, really good. But I just, with the way Washington defends, except for last night, I honestly don't think this game is that interesting. I think both teams, are really, really strong defensively. Both teams, like the Capitals are obviously a good offensive team, but second half of back-to-back, I genuinely don't have a lot of interest in this game. I think there's a lot better spots. The matchups are kind of just wishy-washy. The underlying metrics for the Montreal Canadiens are, continue to be not great. Really, really good on the Washington side of things. So I think if I was going to click on anybody tonight, it would probably be Washington. But the power play continues to just absolutely suck. if these lines change tonight, maybe maybe you move McMichael back up there. But the way they played last night, I don't imagine they'll move things around. Beauvillier, Strome, Ovechkin have had really good numbers. I think the fact that they're only 14K makes me interested. Like the underlying metrics that they've had this year at $14,000 is interesting, right? The ceiling is good, the floor is pretty good. I just don't think it's the best matchup overall. Like the Montreal Canadiens, they do grade out according to the weighted 5v5 expected goals against. They're third best in the NHL right now. Obviously very good. Washington top 10 as well. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Washington top 2. I shouldn't say top 2, literally second in weighted 5v5 expected goals for. Montreal 27th. So again, advantage Washington in this one. But it's hard to be like really buy in on a super high ceiling from them with as bad as that power play has been. Thoughts? You play Montreal way more than me. Are you getting there tonight?
Yeah, I think I am. I still think for as good as these defensive metrics have been for Washington, they're still a team that can be gettable at times. You saw the Oilers do it last night. They still put up 4 goals past Logan Thompson, which honestly might be the most goals he's given up in a game this season. He's been so good. But Charlie Lindgren gets the start tonight, or should be getting the start tonight. Obviously not as good as Logan Thompson. I think that goes without saying. So, it's not like Sam Montembeault is a world burner either. I mean, he's really struggled this season. 10 starts, quality starts in just 30% of them. 858 save percentage, negative 6.4 goals saved above expected. I'm going to get some ownership on Montreal 1 here. I think Zach Bolduc up there on that top line instead of Slavkovsky is very interesting to me. Obviously, Bolduc has kind of cooled off here a little bit as of late, but, red hot start to the season. Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, both done very well against the Caps in their career. Caulfield, 8 goals and 13 points in 11 games. Suzuki, 9 goals, 19 points in 15 games. I'm going to get some ownership on this Washington side of things too. Probably not going to be a ton, but I'm comfortable throwing, maybe 10% total ownership here. Even getting down to that McMichael Leonard mini stack on that third line, if they keep the lines together as they are, I think that's a really interesting way to kind of go tonight as well. So I don't think I'm going to go like super crazy here. Probably meet the field on Montreal and get maybe a little bit over the field because I'll be at 5% on these cap lines. So I've got some interest for sure. I don't think it's going to be a huge ownership dump for me tonight, but I'll get there, I think, with some of it.
Yeah, they are drawing a healthy amount of ownership, close to 10%. Bolduc moving up to that top line does drop the price about $1,500 down to $16,600. Let's keep going here. We've got Tampa and Edmonton. You draw an Edmonton breakdown.
Yeah, interesting game here tonight. We've got the Tampa Bay Lightning hosting the Edmonton Oilers as they continue a massive 7-game road trip that ends on Saturday night against the Florida Panthers. Coming into Tampa tonight looks tough for the Edmonton Oilers. Big shocker there. It's been tough sledding for a while for them. Tampa 1 grading out with the 8th best line on the slate tonight. Tampa 2 coming in at 18th. Edmonton 1, 38th, and Edmonton 2 coming in at 42nd. Matchups in this game doesn't have a huge pace score or anything like that, just 94.1. Solid matchups for the top 6 of the Lightning here tonight. The Oilers' second line draws the best matchup for them. I've got interest in playing the Tampa Bay Lightning here tonight. Calvin Pickard has been probably the worst goaltender in the entire NHL this season, and that might be a little bit of an understatement. He's got an .830 save percentage in 6 starts so far this season. Like, he has been unbelievably bad, giving up a lot of high danger looks, a lot of high danger goals. And this Tampa Bay team, they know how to score. I think this is a bit of a smash spot here on Tampa Bay. I'm going to be over the field on them here. Nikita Kucherov has dominated against the Oilers in his career. 13 goals and 32 points in 18 games played. He's been tremendous. Nick Paul drawing back in from the LTIR, slated to play on that second line with Braden Point and Jake Gensel. Both Point and Paul do have center eligibility tonight, so that's something you have to keep in mind if you're building around this lineup here. But I'm going to be, at or a bit over the field on this Tampa Bay ownership. The Edmonton Oilers, I don't know, man. I don't even know what to make of this team anymore. They are not good. They're not playing good hockey. It's not a surprise. Everybody knows it. I'll probably get a little bit of ownership on Edmonton tonight, maybe 10%, just because there have been some high scoring games between the Oilers and the Lightning in the past. Obviously, you got guys like Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Jack Roslovic. That's where I'll be keeping my ownership to mainly here tonight on this slate. McDavid, 12 goals and 20 points in 14 games played against the Bolts in his career. Leon Draisaitl been a point per game with 10 goals in 18 games played. So I've got some interest in this Oilers side, very, very minimal here, but I'm definitely going to be getting to this Tampa Bay side. It looks like a great spot for them tonight, especially with how poor Calvin Pickard has played this season. I'll be loading up on the Lightning here.
Yeah, I don't think you have to look really like any further than 2 nights ago when the Lightning were pretty low owned and just absolutely crushed the slate. Poor Zach. I just want to give him a hug when he talks about the
Thank you.
Virtual hug, buddy. Bring it in.
I need it.
Yeah, they've been terrible. That's funny. I think like we've seen the Lightning really start to turn a corner as well, right? Offensively, starting to score a lot more. In terms of the 5v5, metrics, weighted 5v5 expected goals for top 10 in the NHL. Meanwhile, the Oilers down at 29th defensively. So really, really good looking matchup tonight. When you take like the power play, that's kind of the one bugaboo for the Lightning so far this season. But again, I do expect them to figure that out. You brought up a good point about these lines, right? Like, I think at 19,200, pretty affordable for Cirelli, Hagel, Kucherov. That's a line that's had a lot of success together in the past. Gensel's had a nice week already. Braden Point is cheap as he's ever been because he's struggled a little bit this year. But Nick Paul stepping in at minimum price. Just 16,200 for that line. I think that this top six is just in a really good spot. The matchups are really nice. If you had to pick one to go, like, would you rather be, going head to head against the McDavid or the Draisaitl line right now, or do you think they're going to be together tonight?
I don't know. I mean, knowing Chris Knoblaw, like they're going to play together. They're going to play a bunch together at 5-on-5. The right way to go is to keep them split up, especially against a deep top six here. But knowing Knoblaw, they're probably going to load up the top line. So.
He needs a hug, man. Yeah, I definitely have interest in this Tampa side of things, no doubt. I think Darren Radish is doing a lot on that back end as well. He's going to continue to quarterback that top power play unit. He's like $3,600. I like him again tonight. I've been playing him a lot lately. So, yeah, kind of loading up on Tampa tonight. Edmonton just is like, they just don't grade out well. So I'll probably be off them at their, outrageous price tags. Let's get to Chicago and Seattle. Again, I don't play Chicago very often. But in the last 10 games, Chicago has the second most goals for in the NHL. What to do with that information? Up to you. Because this is a team that still does not have great metrics. They're below average in terms of 5v5 expected goals for. In terms of their defensive play, they have just been downright terrible. I don't think that's going to matter much tonight because Seattle is arguably, and I don't think you'd even have to argue it too hard, the worst offensive team in the league. I do not click on them. I will not click on them tonight. I think Spencer Knight's a fine option tonight. Volume kind of be damned. I don't know how much he's going to face. He's just $7,600 at second highest ownership. I think he's a good play. I think Chicago wins this game. Whether or not they kind of blow the doors off of Seattle here or not, who knows, man? They're scoring like crazy. But Seattle, still a pretty good defensive team, although the numbers have dipped a little bit lately. So to me, like, it's just kind of like, okay, I guess Connor Bedard stays hot tonight. They don't grade out well. They never grade out well. So I never play them. He's $8,400. I'm probably going to continue to not click on him. It's not working. But at this point, I feel like I've made my bed. Now I have to lay in it. And at least if you're me, he's getting more expensive and a lot more expensive. So, you've been playing him a lot more than I have. You've obviously kind of enjoyed this ride a lot more than I have, but like the underlying metrics, pretty underwhelming. The matchups, obviously far from ideal tonight. What do you do with this game? Is this another one that we just kind of move on?
Yeah, I'll keep it really, really quick. Like, I don't really have any interest in playing Seattle here. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm absolutely getting to Chicago though. no player over their last 10 games has as many DraftKings points as Connor Bedard does. 10 goals, 11 assists, 40 shots on goal, and 6 blocks over that time. He has been absolutely on fire. The floor has been solid for him too, thanks to that shot volume. I'm going to be getting over the field on Chicago tonight. I think Chicago 1 and Chicago 2 look to be in pretty solid spots here tonight. Again, they're not drawing a whole lot of ownership, so it's really easy to play 5% Chicago 1 and 2 and get over the field. That's certainly what I'll be doing. And I'll maybe be a little bit higher on Bedard individually. He's just been too good as of late to ignore for me. Burakovsky as well. 3 goals, 5 points in 4 games played against the Kraken in his career.
Yeah, I just was trying to pull up some data here, but I guess we could move on. I was trying to figure out in terms of like what the expected goal numbers say for Bedard. Give me one moment here. All right, goals scored above expected, 11th highest in the league. Yeah, it's been pretty fortunate, but I've made my bed. Let's move on. Let's get to Colorado, New York.
Yeah, we've got the Avalanche hosting the Rangers. -193 favorites for the Avalanche tonight. Massive favorites. 3.6 implied total for them. 2.6 implied total for the Rangers. Colorado won, as they typically do, look to be in a great spot, grading out as the number 1 line to target overall on this slate tonight. New York 1 coming in 14th overall. New York 2 coming in 33rd. Colorado's depth pieces, 3rd and 2nd line, coming in 39th and 47th, respectively. Very high pace score in this game. Very awful matchups in this game. I kind of lean towards looking at the pace score here a little bit more so than the matchups. Colorado 1 drawing a ton of ownership tonight, 8.9%. They're one of the more expensive lines on the slate. You talk about Connor Bedard having the most DraftKings points over the last 10 games played. Nathan MacKinnon is 0.4 points behind him. And then there is a 27-point drop-off to Jason Robertson, who ranks 3rd. It's pretty easy to kind of look at this here and say, just kind of jam them in a little bit here for this Colorado Avalanche side. I mean, this top line has been on fire as of late. Evidently, the matchups aren't tremendous or anything like that, but Nathan MacKinnon been on an absolute heater. Arturi Lehkonen has been really good this season, and it feels like Marty Netchas is kind of really turning a corner here offensively, and at least in terms of the point production. So I've got interest here in this top line for the Avalanche. I know you play more Colorado too than I think you're probably going to be getting there a little bit tonight, probably being ready to get hurt again. This Rangers side of things, I mean, I still don't entirely know what to make of them. You got JT Miller, taking shifts off out there. Panarin, he's been better as of late. Same with Trocheck. Will Cooley, Zibanejad, they've had solid floors as of late. I can't really see myself full stacking this Rangers side a whole lot here. Where do you kind of come in on this game?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, the Rangers' new lines at the very least are fun. Probably not going to play them tonight. This is just not a good matchup. The Avs are just they're just a wagon, dude. I just don't. I feel like we just have to click on Colorado every night at least a little bit and probably fade whoever they're playing. And I think that that's going to be the case again tonight. I mean, MacKinnon can't get any more expensive. I don't know when he's going to be 10K, but he should be. They're obviously crazy expensive, but I don't think like Lehkonen being under 6K still doesn't make a lot of sense. So yeah, I mean, Colorado 1 is obviously a great play. They grade out number 1 on the charts. They have let's just look at it. Let's just take a look. Let's go through it. So they have a 100% pace score, which on a 12-game slate, or not pace score, 5v5 score, which on a 12-game slate is insane. That means they're better than every single other line in the slate in every metric. So they're pretty good. Even in a bad matchup. The power play expected goal number is the highest, or tied for the highest on the slate. The actual projection is second highest on the slate. They're phenomenal play. Have I had any success playing Colorado 2? No. Will I continue to play Colorado 2? Yes. Underlying metrics, fine. Not great, not terrible, but Brock Nelson's putting up points. Gavin Brindley's $2,800. They're just so cheap. They're $10,200 tonight. How do you not click on them at least a little bit? The underlying metrics, just take a look at them. They're ridiculous. The matchup, again, not good, but I just don't know how do you not click on a line that's $10,000 with those numbers?
The metrics are unbelievable. I'll give you that. That's for sure.
Like, let me see what the actual wowie is here while we talk about it. Do you have anything to add on this game while I look this up?
Yeah, I can ramble on for a minute here. One thing that's really interesting about Colorado is like for as great as they are at 5-on-5, their power play has been terrible this season. I can't believe it. Operating at a 16.7% clip, ranking 30th in the league. They still draw a great matchup here tonight against a Rangers penalty kill. It's not been very good. Seventh best matchup on the slate tonight. The one nice thing about this Colorado team is much like the Edmonton Oilers, their top unit just pretty much plays all of it. 70% of the ice, 77% of the ice time goes to that top power play unit. So you got McKinnon, Marty Netchas, Arturi Lehkonen, Victor Olofsson, and Cale Makar. Olofsson has been really solid as of late here too, not really drawing a lot of ownership at 3%. He's certainly a guy who could score on that man advantage if they get into position to do so. So I think maybe I'll get to a little bit of Olofsson here tonight as well. Cale Makar is always going to grade out well overall, maybe not the best from a value perspective, but still projects to score 12.8 DraftKings points. That is tied for the most with any defenseman with Zach Werenski. Did I ramble enough for you? Did you?
Yeah, more than enough. You nailed it. I just was sitting there like dumbfounded when you were rattling off the names in that top power play unit, and then just staring at them converting it to 16%, and I can't figure it out. It's so bizarre. Okay. So the numbers are unbelievable. Obviously the sample's small, but it's like north of 4 expected goals with Gavin Brindley up there. With Valer Nichushkin there, they were unreal as well, 3.99. So let's just look at Ross Colton and Nelson together, 105 minutes. They have a 3.76 expected goals for per 60, 31 scoring chances, 15.6 high danger. Like at that price tag, I just don't understand how they haven't worked for me. Like they're scoring, but I just don't seem to ever have any success. Oh no, we lost Zach. Oh God. All right. Well, let's get to game number whatever we're on. Utah and Vegas. He must have touched it. He forgot the Ricky Bobby thing. We'll see if he comes back to life here in a moment. Utah and Vegas, obviously an interesting one here. Two pretty good hockey teams. I think two teams that a lot of us have had a bit of a difficult time figuring out with any consistency. Like we have some big games, some not so big games. I think the one interesting thing for the Utah Mammoth tonight, going back to some of their old lines. Hey, welcome back. Barrett Hayton back with Keller and Schmaltz, Cooley back on that second line with Gunther. I think the toughest thing here is Vegas defends extremely well. Utah, for whatever reason, has bad expected goals numbers, but they do a really good job at limiting the opposition. In terms of the 5v5 metrics, for both these teams, grade out, Vegas in the top 5, Utah in the top 10. So two really good defensive teams, two really good offensive teams. I don't really know which side of that battle is going to come to, rise to the top. To be honest with you, I'm probably not going to play this game a whole heck of a lot. But with as little ownership as there is here, I do think that you could do worse than some of the options in this game. This Dorofeyev, Hurdle, Marner line, the underlying metrics together are astounding. They're very good. Braden Bowman just can't not score. It's a good sentence. He's just been great since being called up. He's still just $3,400. He's playing 17 minutes tonight with Eichel on the top power play unit. I mean, I don't know what more you want. So yeah, I think that there's something here within this Vegas top 6 tonight. And at that low ownership, I think they're a good deep tournament field play. I don't necessarily know, how much I'm going to get there, but I do think they're circled for me as a line that I want to get exposure to. Karel Vejmelka has not necessarily been the sharpest in his last, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 games. He's given up 3+ goals in 7 of them on the season. He has a just 50% quality start percentage. So there's something here for Vegas. I think you can get there. The matchups, again, aren't going to look the best on paper. The underlying metrics, though, for this top 6 of the Vegas Golden Knights are really, really strong. So power play, pretty good on the Vegas side of things as well, but the penalty kill for the Utah Mammoth is very good. Worst matchup on the night for Utah. So kind of a long-winded way of saying nobody's playing this game. I have interest in getting to Vegas, probably a lot less interest in getting to Utah. Zach, Rebecca is just wanting to make sure that there was not another car fire. You just forgot the rule of don't touch anything. Oh, your mic's not working. You're muted.
There we go.
Hey.
No car fire, but if there's any fire going on in downtown Edmonton, it's probably Edmonton Oilers related right now.
Oh, and we lost him again. Okay, so he's going to be fuming. Let's get to Vancouver and Dallas. Oh, fun times here as always at the DFS Hockey Report. This is a really fun game for me as well. Dallas going into Vancouver. If we take a look at the team data here, the Canucks dead last in the league in terms of 5v5 expected goals against, just downright terrible defensively. Power play matchup tonight. The Dallas Stars, the best power play matchup on the entire slate. Are you there?
This is fine. Everything is fine.
I told you he was going to be fuming. I'll just keep going. I'll break this one down while we're going here. So just a phenomenal 5v5 matchup, phenomenal power play matchup. I think tonight it's kind of an all-you-can-eat buffet with the Dallas Stars, and honest to God, pretty shocked at how low the ownership here is. I think it's kind of been an issue with how low event Dallas is at 5v5, but they have the best matchups on the entire slate. Just the hottest power play in the league. There's just so much to like here, and I honestly don't understand the ownership at all. Jamie Benn moved up to that top line the other night. Whether or not that sticks tonight, we'll see. If he's there at $3,500, pretty interesting. That full line, it's just $18,100. Tyler Seguin starting to play a little bit better as well, $18,900 to full stack that second line. I like both of them pretty well equally. I think still, though, a lot of my exposure to Dallas is just going to come through that power play and power play stacks, and getting Miro Heiskanen in the mix is going to be a priority yet again tonight. In terms of value defenseman tonight, where is he? Heiskanen for $6K, nowhere near the ownership you saw the other night. Like I honestly don't understand the ownership on Dallas. This looks like easily my favorite spot of the night.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. There's just no ownership coming in. I'm going to be well over the field on Dallas, that's for sure. I'm shocked. I'm really shocked. I get that maybe what's turning people off is like the 5-on-5 play. The chances and the quality that this top six is still getting is good. It's just not been a lot of, shot volume in terms of shot attempts. I still love them. I still love this top six. And again, basically, as it's been for a little while now, basically any Dallas build is just coming through the power play. Johnson, Rantanen, and Heiskanen, Robertson, Hintz, and Heiskanen. That's pretty much where it goes for me. Heiskanen plays with that top six at 5-on-5 all the time. So, if they do manage to bang one in at 5-on-5, then, good for them. But I just love this spot, man. Like, Vancouver is still reeling. They are still a very banged up hockey team right now. I don't know why there's no ownership coming in here. It's really, really strange to me. It's not even like there's ownership coming in on Lankinen or something like that that could explain, there being a little bit less for this Dallas Star side of things. So, Dallas is easily one of my favorite spots on the entire slate tonight. And like, if you pull up the power play numbers here too, Brock, like, it's ridiculous how good this matchup is. You got the third ranked penalty kill in the league up against the 27th ranked penalty kill, 67.1% penalty kill the Vancouver Canucks have. Like, this just seems like an absolute smash spot, and 3.3 times shorthanded per game Vancouver is. So yeah, I love this spot. I'm going to be well over the field on the Stars top six tonight.
You had a couple like Yoda moments there. I love it. The
here.
mic's not working. You're talking like Yoda. This is a great Thursday. I'm really enjoying this. This has been fun. But Dallas, you said it. The 5v5 numbers, not great. Oh, when I say you had Yoda moments, it was not a mic thing. It was just what you were saying. Your mic was fine.
Why use many word when few word do trick?
There you go. See? Yeah, the Vancouver Canucks are so bad defensively. But anyways, what I wanted to say was Dallas on the season, expected goals for numbers 18th best at 5v5, but over the last 2 weeks, 6th best. So it's a team that's been trending in the right direction at 5v5 against the team that is just the downright worst defensive 5v5 team in the league. This is a phenomenal spot, at 5v5 with the man advantage. I love the Dallas Stars at low ownership tonight. Hopefully those ownership numbers stick. I am not going to play Vancouver tonight. I just don't think this is a very good matchup. Are you going to click on them at all?
No, I'm not going to.
Let's get your thoughts on San Jose and LA, and tell me why San Jose 1 is going to get dominated but still score 3 goals tonight.
Well, I mean, tell me why there's so much ownership coming in on LA1, I guess. Kind of an interesting game here. San Jose, or home underdogs, I should say, plus 152 on the money line, 2.6 implied total for them, 3.3 for the LA Kings. Looking at the line stacks here in this game, LA1 grading out 20th best overall, drawing 11% ownership, which feels pretty high to me. San Jose 1 coming in at 26th overall, 4.6%. San Jose 2 grading out as a 34th best line to target, and LA2 all the way down there at 48th. Kind of an interesting game. I mean, it doesn't really have the highest pace score of the night. Far from it at 93.7. The matchups are okay for this top six of the San Jose Sharks. Matchups are certainly better on this Kings side of things. I mean, I guess we're starting to see Fiala, Byfield, Kempe, individually turning a corner offensively here as of late. Fiala and Kempe, as always, you get tremendous volume from them, from their shots on goal. Still waiting for that ceiling game to kind of hit for them. Maybe this is a spot where it can happen. But again, we've talked about this a lot with how good Yaroslav Askarov has been so far this season. So I think this is kind of an interesting game. I don't entirely know. I don't know if I can get behind 11% LA tonight just because of how poor they grade out overall in the charts. I mean, they're 20th overall, which seems a little bit low for how much ownership they're getting.
Can I help out a bit, maybe?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, maybe the price tag, 17,600. What do you think?
I would definitely give them a manual bump, based on they're being graded on these metrics, which is what they've possessed kind of on a weighted average to get as individuals this season. But historically, this is a line that played together, a decent chunk last year, 77 minutes overall. And really good underlying metrics, 3.2 expected goals for per 60, 34 scoring chances, 13 high danger. So, I think too, the other thing is we always talk about, even when LA's in good spots, it's hard to be like, okay, which line is it going to be? I think at least now it's all consolidated. We've seen, Quentin Byfield play pretty well, but not, be pretty snake bitten. Adrian Kempe seems too cheap. Fiala seems too cheap. So yeah, I think they're underpriced, but when these three have been together, they've played very, very well. So I do think that they make a lot of sense tonight. As good as Askarov's been, he is still basically having to steal games. He's facing just an enormous amount of shots on a night-to-night basis outside of that Utah game. So I think LA1's certainly going to have their chances tonight. On the power play, it's been a power play that's not been good, but the penalty kill for the Sharks is 29th. Despite killing a lot of penalties because of Askarov, but I think there's reason to get here with LA tonight. I'm certainly interested, but maybe not as interested as the field seems to be.
Okay, that's fair. I think I can get behind that. I guess for me, it's just I've forgotten what it's like to play the Kings. Barely done it this season. You know what I mean? It's kind of been a weird start to the season for them. But yeah, I do kind of like the look of this top line being put together. From a San Jose perspective, the underlying metrics are still not good offensively. That top line is still scoring a lot of goals, 3.5 per hour. But basically everything else has really not been pretty. Defensively, I think the Kings are still a team that's gettable here for sure. Anton Forsberg getting the start. He hasn't been great this season. He's been okay. Why is this top line going to score 3 goals tonight for the Sharks? Well, Macklin Celebrini has 3 goals and 4 points in 3 games played against the LA Kings, and Will Smith has a goal and 3 points in 4 games played. So I'm probably going to get there a little bit on this San Jose side of things. Probably get there a bit on this LA Kings side of things for sure on that top line.
Yeah. I think the Kings are pretty good defensively, right? In terms of 5v5 expected goals against, are second best in the league. But Anton Forsberg definitely provides a bit of a wrinkle there. So, yeah, I'll probably continue to fade this top line in San Jose. And it's, again, I haven't had a whole lot of success, and it's been the exact same thing with Bedard, but at least Bedard's is somewhat explainable. The underlying metrics are actually good, where Celebrini just seemingly overcomes terrible metrics on a night-to-night basis. Him and Will Smith this year together have a 2.2 expected goals for per 60. It's just downright terrible, but they've scored 4.0 goals for per 60. So it's just, I don't know what to make of this line, and I'll continue to fade. Let's get to Anaheim and Ottawa. Obviously a game, the Senators are just pretty boring, but the Ducks are pretty not. So it's which side of the puck going to be, a little, which one of those games is going to come to the forefront tonight. The Ottawa Senators 24th in 5v5 expected goals for and top 7 in terms of their defensive play. Anaheim's kind of the complete opposite. They're 23rd defensively, and then offensively they're kind of middle of the pack. Second half of back-to-back for the Ducks. Maybe not the best performance last night. The Bruins played pretty well. They still got the W thanks to Lucas Dostal. I think there's some reason to have interest in the Senators tonight with Mrazek between the pipes, and as bad as the Ducks are defensively, second half of back-to-back and all those things. It's just, I haven't had any success playing the Senators this year. Pinto's been good. He's up to $5,400. Giroux's been good. He's $3,900. Like that line feels fine to me. You want to get to Stützle, Batherson. They're a little bit more expensive. I don't mind that either. On the other side of the puck, I think the Senators defend well enough that I'll probably stay off of Anaheim. Like they were just enormously chalky last night and didn't hit against a much worse Bruins team with Jonas Korpisalo between the pipes. So the matchup scores are just downright terrible here. Pretty good on the Ottawa side of things. I think I'm in kind of an agreement with the field here in where Ottawa feels like a good play, but it's hard to narrow down which line it is to play. And the underlying metrics are so bad that it's like, I don't feel that confident in it. So I bet the under in this game. I feel like it's going to be a little bit lower scoring. It was at 6.5 yesterday. I don't think that's going to get there. So I really don't have a ton of interest in this game, really. I'll probably click on a couple pieces. I think some of the blue liners are somewhat interesting. I think there's enough value, like Seneca at $3,400 and Drew $3,900. And there's a couple decent value options here, but full stacking, I think there's just much better game environments this evening.
Yeah, I think I agree from an overall perspective there. I think what's kind of interesting is that Anaheim 2 is coming in as the 6th best line to target overall, and Ottawa 3 coming in 13th best overall. I think for that reason, with them being in the top 15, same with Ottawa 1, mind you, coming in at 15th overall exactly, I'm okay throwing a little bit of ownership on those spots. Anaheim 2, Mason McTavish, still waiting for him to do some stuff. Beckett Seneke, had a decent game last night. Feels like he might be turning a little bit of a corner. Want to see some more shot volume from him. Cutter continues to be the GOAT. This top line for the Ducks is the one that kind of feels like it's slowing down maybe a little bit here as of late. Some of that wind is kind of leaving the sails. They've just been so red hot to start the season here. The Ottawa side of things, like the metrics are gross in that top 6. Like I agree with you. Like I don't feel confident in playing the Ottawa Senators, even with them having really good matchups here. I'm okay with a little Stützle Batherson, like mini stacking them, I think is okay. Batherson 4 goals and 9 points in 7 games against the Ducks in his career. This third line kind of is drawing a little bit more of my interest here. $12,200. They're really, really cheap to get to tonight. I think that's an interesting spot that I'll throw a little bit of ownership at here tonight, but I don't feel super confident in this Ottawa side of things. And, the reason I just feel good about Anaheim is just Cutter Gauthier. I mean, he's still so cheap at $6,900 and has just been so good as of late. 15 shots on goal per hour of ice time this season, man. He's unreal.
Yeah, he's sick. I think I'll click on Ottawa 3 a little more than Ottawa 1. Ottawa 1, 2.1 expected goals for per 60. Ottawa 3 north of 3. But for me, I think Ottawa is more of a late slate play than like a main slate play. I just feel like there's better opportunities. Somebody wanted me to sort by ownership. Ignore this one. Shout out to our friends while we're sorted by ownership at rotogrinders.com for providing projected ownership for tonight's show. If you want to get $20 off your first month of Rotogrinders Premium, link in the description of the video will take you there. Toronto 1, LA 1, Detroit 1, Montreal 1, Colorado 1, Toronto 2, Tampa 1, Columbus 1, Dallas 2, Anaheim 1 is the top 10. Let's get to some defensemen and some goalies. That's the wrong table. Let's go here. Okay. Matthew Schaefer, I think, makes sense, right? He's been great. He's only $5,200, so I think that's a good game environment against the Red Wings. I love Brant Clark. I like the Kings a lot tonight. I think Brant Clark, seeing 22-plus minutes with Drew Doughty out makes a lot of sense. He grades out well. I already mentioned Darren Radish. I was $200 cheap on his salary. He's 38, not 36. I think he's great. Morgan Riley looks pretty good, too. He's back up on the top power play unit at $4,600. The Toronto Maple Leafs gaining a lot of steam tonight. We joked and laughed about the minutes that Miro Heiskanen was going to play with the blue line as banged up as it is in Dallas. And it was pretty high still, don't get me wrong, but there's two names that saw a lot of minutes. Alex Petrovic and Liam Bichelle saw north of 20 minutes, which is like not what they're accustomed to at all. But Petrovic, as a result, grades out quite nicely tonight. He's a guy that just kind of does a lot of shit when he's on the ice. Usually it's limited ice time, but he'll block some shots. He'll get some shots on net. So I think he grades out pretty well from a minimum price. But I really like Charles Edouard Datus. He's going to move up to the top pairing or top four for the Lightning tonight. He's going to be on that second power play unit. I think at minimum price, he's probably my favorite down at the bottom there. A couple other names I mentioned earlier. Axel Sandin Pellikka, somebody I really like tonight. Who else kind of sticks out? Anybody I've missed that you want to talk about?
Couple of really cheap guys doing a lot of shit. Radko Gudas, he's been doing a lot since he's returned in his 2 or 3 games here. Rasmus Sandin at $2,600, I still think is a solid play. Pretty limited minutes for Ian Moore in Anaheim, but his floor has been really solid as of late. As always, the Oilers defensemen do fine work out there. Darnell Nurse, 2 goals last night, super random. He blocks a lot of shots, takes a lot of shots. I've got some interest there on those spots as well. I think that kind of really covers it. I think he kind of wrapped it up pretty good here on these other defensemen.
Yeah, a couple other names really quick. I'll just rattle them off. Jordan Spence, as always. JJ Moser, Matt Roy. Simon Nemec has been okay outside of that hat trick. Sam Malinsky's had a really nice floor in limited minutes. Denton Matejchuk, Mario Ferraro, always honorable mentions with those two as well. Let's get to the goalies. We've talked about it a little bit already. Andrei Vasilevsky is shocking that he's the number 1 goalie on the slate facing the Edmonton Oilers, but that's kind of the world we live in with the Oilers right now. Sorry, Zach. It's so funny to me that the goalie playing the Oilers is $8K, which makes sense. But you'd think it would be like he would be the $7,000 goalie, and the goalie playing the Panthers, who are extremely banged up, $7K tonight. But yeah, Vasilevsky I think is okay. I just don't know if I'm gonna get there a ton. Jet Greaves, I think, is an interesting chalk busting option tonight at $7,300. He grades out really well. But for me, man, it's just so hard to ignore that Allen price tag. It's really hard to ignore that Spencer Knight price tag. I think I'm going to kind of live there. Askarof's always kind of in play. He's going to be an option for me as well. So I'm going to be paying down tonight for sure. And it's going to be a little bit of a chalky night between the pipes for me, but I'll get different elsewhere in a 12-gamer.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like some of these cheaper options tonight for sure. I'm fine with playing Vasilevsky at 8K. 11 games against the Oilers in his career, 7 wins, 293 goals against average, 912 save percentage. He's been good against them. Jet Greaves at $7,300. Kind of like that play a lot here tonight. I'm going to have some Spencer Knight for sure at $7,600. I kind of am in agreement with the field here. I'm kind of going to be eating a pretty good amount of this chalk tonight because I'm interested in Askarov too. He should see a good amount of volume. Shesterkin, you're obviously taking a bit of a risk there, but in 6 games played, 3 wins, a 254 goals against average, 927 save percentage. I think he's an interesting option. Shesterkin is projected for the 2nd most saves on this slate tonight, next to only Joseph Wall. So I think there's some interesting options for sure, but I'm still probably going to be eating most of this chalk.
I think one thing to add about Jet Greaves is for whatever reason, one reason or another, for the last 3 or 4 seasons, it always seems like the Blue Jackets give the Maple Leafs fits. We've seen, I remember, I think it was Daniil Tarasov had a 40 save performance. There goes Zach against the Maple Leafs. They always just seem to have a tough time with the Blue Jackets. Hopefully Zach returns before we get to our hat trick pick challenge. But while we wait for him, if you want to participate in today's hat trick pick challenge, all you got to do is drop your hat trick pick in the comment section of the video on YouTube, not the live chat. If you post in the live chat, it will not be accepted. It has to be in the comment section to make sure that we can see it later. Zach, welcome back. We're just getting to the hat trick pick challenge here, my friend. So before your mic cuts out and you leave us again, who's your hat trick pick tonight?
Nikita Kucherov.
Okay, very nice. If your player scores a hat trick tonight, we'll get you a $25 gift card to Nation Gear. If somebody scores a hat trick and nobody picked, we'll raffle it off to anybody that submitted a pick, unless all the most obvious players score hat tricks and nobody picks them. That's the one disclaimer at the bottom in the fine print. My hat trick pick is Alex DeBrincat. If you want to get $20 off your first, 20% off your first month of Action Network Premium, link is in the description of the video, and then also the link to the DFO Discord is down there as well. But that's been 12 games in under an hour. If you like the DFO DFS Hockey Report, if you're new, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, continue to help us grow the show. We're live on YouTube. We're live on X every single day, Monday through Friday, breaking these slates down. We do it different than anybody else does. You know, we got all the data right here. We're we trust the numbers. So if you're a numbers person, then you're going to love this show moving forward. But yeah, like we do this every day. We've been doing it for a long time. We love doing it. So continue to just show your support, smash the like button, join the Discord, smash the like, hit the subscribe, all those fun things. And we'll see you back here tomorrow for a fun Friday slate. But show some support. We love you guys, and we'll see you back here. Good luck. Hopefully you return with more money in your bankroll tomorrow than you had tonight. I'm Brock Seguin. We got Zach Laing kind of in and out, but right now in. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Cheers.
Cheers.